Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 43 of Rannoch, our vanilla Boreal CS build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. There was a live stream last week where we set up some emerging downtown districts on the very start of the city actually. You can find some on the live tab on the channel if you want to watch it back. And then we also headed over to the airport to build an airport viewing platform, accompanied by a bit of civil engineering, kind of a natural stream diversion through a storm drain. Kind of directing the stream away from the airport, right? You know, once upon a time it did flow through the airport, but no longer. The civil engineers said absolutely not, and decided to divert the stream away from the airport, which gives us a really nice storm drain actually next to the runway. And tremendous views from our airport viewing platforms. And there's always tons of little personalities to be had in the streams, so if you want some inspiration, do head over there and check them out. They make great background watching. However, today's episode, we're going to expand the airport due to a comment we had a couple of episodes ago from Luke Johnson about building some airport services, helicopters, blimps, other sort of general airline services here. And I wouldn't mind even possibly bringing in a little bit of sort of National Guard vibes as well, maybe a little bit of a military installation. Quite hard to achieve, I think, in vanilla, the whole military vibe, but some sort of National Guard, right? We mentioned during the dam episode that there's going to be some sort of entrance here, and I think this is what this entrance will now become, is the access to the airport services. We'll redraw the train bridge at some point. Let's allow the road to come through first. Actually, it's a little bit thick, isn't it? I might go for the 4-lane small road instead, I think, actually. Yeah, I think that's all I'm after here. And then really just send that straight into today's build area, and then let's tidy up what we've changed here. So let's begin to establish a bit of a facility here, if you like. I can already see, now, this runway here is isolated from the other one, but I can actually see a way where we can change that, because we can bring this one around to hook into there, I think. So let's do that, why we have stumbled upon it. That now allows both runways, or all the air stands access to both runways, rather, is what I'm trying to say there. So today's build is all about disaster response, right? So I think actually rather than snapping to this guideline here, I probably want everything aligned with the airport runways, I think. So let's bring out a nice big road from here on multiple 90-degree snaps, and then we know with this we're aligned with the airfield then, which will really help the overall aesthetic of today's build, right? So if you're going for disaster response and kind of general sort of municipal services, I think it would be rude not to have a look at including the disaster response building, which is definitely one of the harder ones to use. There's also classed as an airbase, the larger version, isn't it, compared to the disaster response unit. If we were to compare both of these buildings, I think definitely the airbase is the way to go, right? It's just a little bit more important looking, but it's actually really disappointing. It doesn't have the writing on the front, does it? I've never noticed that, you know? Damn it. I wanted the disaster response unit on there. I wonder if we could possibly go for a vanilla fusing. Is it possible? It could be. So in terms of where we're going to put this, we need it kind of obviously out of the approach of the planes. That will 1000% trigger the aviation police if I do that. So I'll try and avoid it if I can. So if we can center, I mean, that's pretty much the middle of the runway right there, isn't it? This particular road guideline is bang on the middle. So let's see if we can centralize in and around here. Did I happen to guess that first time? Oh, it's a tile out, is it? Is it actually? I don't know, I can't tell. It is, it's one tile out. Which is not bad, I suppose, but it's not what I wanted. I did want them fused. And then the airbase will sit perfectly behind the other one, which gives us actually one of the better natural fusings I think that's in vanilla. They do kind of piece together very nicely there, don't they? So if we can use that as our kind of central command, right? You know, this is where everyone reports in, and then we can build up our service around the edge of it. I think which should be quite nice. Right? Wonderful. Do airport aprons work with this? Most important question of the episode. The only reason I'm doing another airport build is to use the airport aprons. So it collides with the building, but not with the sub-buildings. But it's all fenced off, isn't it? And plus it's trees, so if we put airport apron here, we're going to get trees in the concrete, which I always hate. So we'll probably avoid it. We'll find somewhere else to use them. Let's give this a nice box straight up and down the sides, and we can start to form the rest of our facility from this road now as well. Cool. I don't think that's too intrusive within the airport either there, is it? That looks really nice. And very important that we can see the disaster response unit building here as well. Just thinking, do we want the disaster response facing toward the airport? Not sure. The eternal question. I can always switch them around, at least they're already measured. So I think probably what we'll end up doing today is actually placing a lot of these larger assets, because of course that free update gave us just some real chunguses, didn't it? Which are definitely the vibe I want today. But looking at their pricing for what they're going to be doing for us, like 3,360 a week for this high capacity police station. It's gonna, it's gonna massively force our availabilities like way through the roof, right? So we'll probably adjust the budget for this. For example, 3,000, nearly 4,000 heal capacity for less than 10% of that value of 6 citizens is stupid. So let's adjust the budget for that, because that will hurt the city. I'd say let's go for about 80% on each. We don't need to worry about nighttime sliders because we're not playing with day-night cycle. So let's just bring that down for all of them. Police, fire, and medical can be 80% funded. I'm just wary, if we're placing a lot of these today, it's going to trash the economy. So we'll have to be careful with these expensive service assets. But beyond that, ignoring the financials of Rannoch, these are very nice, aren't they? Again, so I think to avoid triggering the aviation police, we're going to want these not in the approaches of the runways. So let's kind of focus them around here, shall we? Let's also give them a way in as well, right? That'd be helpful. Again, I wouldn't mind exploring the possible fusing of these. I think this one here, actually, the high capacity police station, blends in really nicely, doesn't it, with the disaster response unit? So we'll see if we can explore a fuse in there. I definitely want to piece these two together, I think. So let's bring you up into the corner. Again, orientation, as always, makes or breaks a build. For some reason, coming into today's build, I know that I just want that corner exposed to this road corner, so I think I'll be happy with that. And then I don't want them directly next to each other, these helicopter ports. I'd rather do something of a design with them, so let's box that one in. And I wonder if we can maybe do kind of like a 5 deep square in the middle, and then start to sort of create the base a little bit like this. Is what I'm envisioning. And we've also got the actual helicopter stuff to import in here as well today, which isn't something we use overly often, which is the Sunset Harbour helicopter stops and depots. So it's also got the helicopter depot in here as well. Possibly around there, I think. So I think if we're going to go with the National Guard vibes, I also wouldn't be averse to a little bit of or industry workers barracks, you know, because they do have that sort of barrack vibe, don't they? I know they are literally barracks, but in terms of a just sort of building I can substitute to maybe indicate the presence of some sort of National Guard, I feel like these are the perfect asset. So I'm just going to drag the Port Perez district out over here as well so we can place them. Let's have a little bit of a chat. Maybe, you know, the workers are kind of stationed up and near these stations here, you know, these helicopter depots, so if they need to immediately wake up and put out a forest fire, they're already right here. So it's coming to our ore industry. And we want these. You could also use forestry barracks for these as well, and this idea also works very well. But since I just already have the ore barracks, I'm going to go for those. Right. So the literal heroes of Rannoch living and sleeping here in this rescue site, right? Which again is actually a very nice compliment in the shadow of this enormous concrete beast, isn't it? I do love this building. Very brutalist. Which is definitely one of my more favourite styles of architecture, I would say. Let's get a few rows of these in. And let's begin to piece together all these roads as the facility spreads out. And we won't get one more there. But you know what, it's fine. I'm happy for some space to develop here. That's okay. We could even actually cut that one across and delete that, couldn't we? And then I think actually allow that space to sit in the middle, which is what I'll do. Maybe create some sort of recreation here for workers. If we can do that. suppose we'll see. But already, with the general impression of the facility there, I'm not hating how it's coming together. In terms of where we're going to send the helicopter, now these things are just insane for public transport. For some reason, the AI just absolutely adores them. It will not choose any other method if this is available. Got another bit of a death wave, are we, I think? I think we are, yeah. Everyone's alright now. Yeah, sorry, but to get distracted, I think the best place for a helicopter stop is Wesley, right? Because we have the rich and famous living here. And then I guess maybe over to the stadium is probably also a good shout, the Vanderbilt Stadium here. I think the other ones probably aren't that suited to helicopter arrival. So why don't we go for this big modern arena? We can pretend it's for players or VIPs, right? Whatever you want to sort of justify it as. But I think definitely having them land in the grounds here, right? So let's bring out a little pedestrian road. Don't want any guidelines here. And then something like that. We'll also give that pedestrian area too. There we go. Okay. Do we like it there? Is that intrusive at all? I feel like it's pretty cool. I think we'll go for it. Well, essentially, if you have any more ideas for helicopter stops in the city, do let me know. But I think for right now, I'm going to run it from the billionaires' homes to the Vanderbilt Stadium. Is that going across the airport there? It is. Let's not do that. That will annoy the aviation police if I do that. Let's send them out into the marsh and then they can cross the strait. And then we'll hook that one right along the coast here. Again, avoiding the runways where I can. And then sending that into the depot. So this line won't actually be that busy, only why the helicopters leave for their respective lines. Will that be an issue? But until then, we can have the billionaires fly back into from the stadium. Really interested to see actually just how many people take that route, because currently the only way back across the strait is the bridge. Which raises the question, at some point would we be open for a ferry service? Because considering how much water Rannoch has, there is a surprising lack of ferry service, isn't there? It's just not something we focus on at all. I was thinking maybe another road bridge, but I think that would take away from that, you know? I think that should be the only road crossing. But potential for future ferry crossings, maybe. Maybe we can spend an episode focused on water travel, canals, ferries and whatnot. We'll see. Well, here come the helicopters. Da, 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 da. It's like, what's that movie? Is it Apocalypse Now? With the helicopters flying over the horizon. You got CS Apocalypse Now, right? before we got GTA 6, we got CS Apocalypse Now. And there we go. Wonderful. So some more activity for Rannoch. There's only 4 helicopters left, which I'm happy with. That doesn't seem overly busy. I think if we are going to go with the National Guard vibes, I also wouldn't mind a pitch here as well, some sort of recreation for them. So why don't we have a look at that too? Let's bring in a road. I think I probably want this far away from the runways here, especially if we're going to do something like baseball, for example. If I can find Peanuts venues, there we go. Does the community baseball feel like so they're batting toward the flood wall, right? Rather than batting toward the 747s. You know, it's a very sort of far away. So, you know, soldiers, National Guard, firemen, policemen, first responders, whatever it is that base is out of here. They can enjoy a little bit of sports and rec there, right? I might even bring in some more barracks around that actually. Let's box in the area and send these down, and then let's grab those barracks again too. 1, 2, and 3. Once it's in the industry area. There we go. And then let's also do that here as well. Let's have one. And we don't really have the room there, do we? That's okay though. I'll just tuck the road in like that, and we should be okay. Cool. So I'm liking this so far. And with the police helicopter, I did mention that I would like to actually try another fusing technique with this. Just because it looks so similar to the buildings, I think it'll join up quite nicely with them. I'm going to spend a fortune in today's episode with all this moving and plopping of buildings. It's fine there. Yeah, so that's more the position I had, right? They're just such similar assets, aren't they? Big, grey, steel, concrete buildings with chain link fencing and concrete yards. It's all very much part of the same sort of vibe, isn't it? Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty happy then. We'll keep that in there, and that'll also change up the shape of the boxiness of the disaster response units as well. We have kind of that little sub-building on it, you know? Which I think is pretty effective there, actually. I don't hate that at all. But otherwise, it's come along not too badly. Let's go ahead and check on the helicopters. Which I have to admit, seeing the helicopter fly very low, Jesus, at the same height as a cruise line is a bit unnerving, but whatever. Please don't be rammed. It's pretty rammed. It turns out Rannoch has a lot of billionaires that can afford private helicopter flight direct from the stadium. Which, I mean, there's no stopping it, is there? I don't know what it is about helicopters. Maybe it's the convenience. Maybe that's how the public transport AI just prefers to behave. It's just take the route of least resistance, which is always air, right? Not sure. Did he at least begin to clear it? No, these are very pink helicopters as well, aren't they? Should we change the colour of the line up here? Let's do our helicopters. What should we call this? We'll call this Wesley, the Wesley to Atlantic City line, and then blue. Should we go for the OE blue? I think so. Are you alright? There's a lot of dead people in Atlantic City. Is that due to the arrival of the Holy crap. Are you okay? There's a graveyard full somewhere, isn't there? Or something. What's caused you? That's not a normal death wave. Ah, do you know what it is? It's the funding, isn't it? It is the funding, yeah. The funding's too low. Medical care then, we cannot reduce the funding for that, because it turns out several thousand people across the city will instantly die without Rannoch's healthcare at full funding. I'm assuming that's what's caused that. Does that bring us back up to 10 hertz? It does, yeah, okay. So if you guys want my top tips for city skylines, don't reduce your healthcare budget to 80% at 96,000 population. It is not a good idea. But it's fine though, it's alright. Either way, let's come back to this build over here. So the next set of assets I want to include in this area are going to be the Blimps, which are the worst assets in the game. So let's take a look at this one. So this asset in particular, I mean, I guess it is a hangar because it's storing a blimp. But I think there's a way we can possibly blend this into the airfield. God, that death wave is so terrifying, isn't it? Holy smokes. Is everyone okay? It looks like there's a lot of dead. It's alright, we're still growing in population. But yes, I think we can blend this in as a hangar. So I'm going to trim this rib back, and you can just stay here for right now. And then let's extend what we have on the airfield. So I'm probably going to go for some larger airport aprons here. Now, I guess this is technically part of the airport, so we can just sort of meld together with the current airfield. I don't have anything against that particularly. And then let's grab some of these hangars as well. Let's do you want to do small? Do you want to do large? See if we have one there. Let's grab a plane as well. Let's do... do we have a plane that looks like it might be sort of a... like a fire extinguishing plane, you know, like a water carrier? But I don't think we do we? There's no way to create that either. That's okay though, we'll have that there. Although I think I do want them all facing the other way though. Because obviously they'd want access to the runway. Something like that. And then actually, can we get these lined up? I really wish these didn't have collision, but it is what it is, I suppose. And then let's do, say, 2 more hangars. Something like that. Okay. And then I guess I'll have a road coming in. So actually might be quite a good chance to use the airport cargo roads, actually. Let's just delete that road for right now. I'm not massively bothered about centralization through here, I suppose. But if we were to have you sort of in the airfield, does that make us feel better or worse about the situation? I do kind of like it. It just looks like prop storage for the airfield, doesn't it? You know, they'd keep all the sort of catering wagons in here and whatnot if they're being serviced or cleaned, like all this kind of stuff. These vehicles here, which I really wish we had as props as part of the airport DLC. Shame we didn't get them. Okay, I think I'll leave that in then. Then off the back of that, will the Blimp depot just settle in no trouble at all? So that's quite nice on those airport roads, isn't it? So with the blimps, I want to really use them as advertising, I suppose, rather than a means of public transport. Because they're just not, right? No one takes a blimp anywhere. So with them, I think what we will do is have the stops function, so I can have the line pass, I think, over the stadium here. It'd be pretty good right in front of the skyline, right? Seems like pretty good advertising space there. Now this one, I'm just going to put over here for right now, and I think we'll house it within an industrial area in the 821 Tal district. And then the one on the other side, I want it to sort of come this way, so if it can land in some open parkland, perhaps? I don't really want it coming over the low density areas. I feel like that would be weird. So I think I'll actually extend this road out under the networks here, with a view to just trying to squeeze it in here. And then we'll have that there. So the blimp line really is the most important thing this way. So I want it to pass right over the stadium, kind of in view of the game would be good, right? And then it can come over the highway in between the buildings, which is probably quite dangerous, but it's fine. And then just straight into that one over the medium density here. And then in terms of connection to the depot, again, I'll try and keep it away from the runways. Let's bring it out this way. And then again, this won't be active all the time, just while the blimp makes its way over there. So we don't have to worry too much about that one really. And then let's get it flowing and see what it looks like. So it just so happens that there's a game on and the blimp goes past. Isn't that just... I will never be able to line that up again in a billion years if I tried to do that. Absolutely amazing, but case in point, right? Let's get a little screenshot there too. That's please, boom. There it goes. So I just reduced the line down to 1. Like, I really want it to be like an advert. I just have to accept the fact it kind of bobs back and forth, right, like a blimp would around a downtown. So not sure if there's anyone waiting for it actually. Should we go check? I'd be surprised if they are. Just just the one dude. Where's he going? Going to the tennis court. All the way over here, which to be fair to him, blimp is probably the fastest way if you want to get that specific tennis court. I think. Anyway, let's do some detailing today around today's site, fencing, props, bit more barracks. I think I'll also bring some airport fueling stations in here as well, some of these assets down here that we have lined up. Maybe a bit of oil storage as jet fuel, perhaps. It'll all come together either way as we tie up our National Guard sort of airport service, Air Force expansion today, I suppose. Let's do some detailing, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little detailed review of our National Guard service base, shall we? So it's really turned into a fun little complex of loads of different unique assets here. A bit of custom running track. I did have a look at the Varsity Stadium and that has the running track on it, but it was way too big for the space that we had. Just gone for a little custom running one out in the field here, which you drive past kind of on your approach into the base thing, which is a really nice way in. Of course, added in the toll booth, and then we come around here, slightly readjusted the positioning of the police station here as well. I think this is the medical one, isn't it? Just so it all kind of sits and flows out of this main central unit, right? This is definitely a sort of central command, if you like. So everything kind of just in orbit of this big fused facility, I think. Same with the police station like we did in the episode as well. All just really blends together, doesn't it? From whatever angle you catch this place from, it all just looks like it's kind of one giant complex, which is really what I wanted to create here. There's some buildings and props out on these enormous open concrete fields with airport refueling, or which has a fence around the back of it. I love this airport fence. It's very kind of, it's just the logo, isn't it? Really nice. And then we also get really cool views as well from the trains passing by here too. A couple of planes also lined up with some office space for extra administration, some car parking next door to that, some of the Japanese car parking too. It's a bit more industrial, isn't it? And then we also have these railroad sign here, almost like it is some sort of memorial, right, with a bit of a design out of the front. You can imagine names engraved on this stone of the heroes of Rannoch and whatnot, of the people that have managed to fight off and save Rannoch from extinction with that death wave, which, for the record, has subsided now, finally. And that was definitely the funding issue there. Then more barracks here, littered some dirt roads in between, and then added in some little gardens and stuff for them to maintain. Some rows in other places, and a sort of general communal space for workers during free time, or, you know, during a split shift or whatever. Just general recreation on base for them, if you like. And doesn't it sit really nicely, this kind of barrack aesthetic outside of that main service facility? And you see the downtown from here as well. Isn't that a great sightline? Unexpected sightline spice there. And then of course the fact that it's all in this busy working airport really adds to it as well. I fenced off all the runways, so you imagine, you know, people wouldn't just be able to stroll onto an active runway. There would be at least some sort of barrier here, which runs up to the flood wall that we installed last episode. Which also drops down to this storm drain as well, which was on the live stream, which you can find that below as well. The cinematics today will also have some wonderful views from the viewpoints that we generated during that live stream as well. Always love little fun spots that pop up like that during those streams, so thanks for hanging out and enjoying them as much as you do. And then over at the stadium with the helicopter stop, I've just dropped in some regular vanilla industrial props, chain link fencing, and kind of security barriers alongside a rest room. Just to kind of make this helipad seem a little bit more like it is kind of, you know, for the more private elite class that's paying for this kind of transport back into an arena like this. So I just wanted to kind of reflect that, and I think it works out pretty nicely, doesn't it, as a bit of a sort of, you know, gated sort of security space. So you now have helicopters leaving from the stadium, which is fantastic. And again, we can probably see the view where there's also another game going on. God, what is the look today? Right? How cool is that? Again, I'll take another screenshot of that there. That's actually a very welcome aesthetic, isn't it? Club owner leaving the ground. Very thematic. Now, yeah, a really fun and very unique build today. A whole different blend of assets that we wouldn't really put together. Flood walls, natural disasters, airports, industry, paths and aprons and bushline and parks. A real weird build, but filled a really nice niche. I think this is much more interesting than having to work with just the terminal expansion that I initially was planning for this area. So a shout out to Mr. Johnson as well for the idea a couple of episodes ago down in the comments. Massive shout out to the patrons that support the channel. Roll call to our amazing Golden Egg patrons, Andrew Perez, Louis Adlam, Casino, Wolfo, Phoenix MD, and Wesley Kip. If you want to get involved in that, links down below to Patreon, Instant Gaming. Best ways to support the channel. And don't forget, you can also enjoy the podcast with Biffa over on the Patreon as well. Otherwise, enjoy today's cinematics, and I'll shut up and leave it there. I want to thank you all so much indeed for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.